rock creek picture they picked.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Hi and welcome. You are joining us live on Facebook and YouTube today for our live event series for our Search for Excellence winners for the UC Master Gardener program. I am Lauren Snowden and I am joined today by some of our winners from Placer County. Melissa and Carol are both volunteers with Placer County UC Master Gardener program. We thank them so much for their time and joining us on the lunch hour, as well as you, whether you're watching live or watching this via recording. We really do appreciate you being here. We are having some technical difficulties streaming live to Facebook at this point, but our YouTube people are with us right now. So we have about 10 people joining us on YouTube, and we're getting the link worked out on Facebook. So you'll be watching this recording maybe a little bit later. We are taking questions today. We'll be taking them at the end. And I do have lots of resources that were shared, and we will share them with you so you can have this presentation. You can have the resources that we will be talking about today and some of the examples of something called Employee of the Month, which you should stick around and find out because it's pretty cute and fun. And usually really educational. So those three things, very positive. Again, thank you for sticking with us even through our Facebook Live issue. We do appreciate you all being here. And Carol and Melissa, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Lauren.
I'm Carol Holliman.
And I'm Melissa Johnson. And we're here to talk about engagement, education, enthusiasm equals school garden success. Our plan that we bring to the table in terms of this program that we're going to be excited to share with you today, and winning this contest that we absolutely weren't expecting, but are honored to have done so.
Yes. So I'm the co-chair, along with Kurt Duran, of the School and Community Garden Committee for the Master Gardeners of Placer County. And this committee has about 24 Master Gardeners who are passionate about helping schools, helping the principals, teachers, and parents bring that joy of kids putting their hands in the dirt and seeing where their carrots are grown and learning how to care about nature. So what we're going to be doing today is taking you through what we learned over a really exciting year, 2022, and now also 2023, around how to take these school gardens to a new level. There's a number of school gardens on a new concept. There's a number of them out there, but many of them are languishing, particularly over COVID. And so this is the story we're going to be telling today. Okay, apparently my screen doesn't want to move forward. Oh,
it's working now. Good job.
How's it going? All right, so to tell the story, we're going to start by really talking about the foundation of what was there when we came on the scene and started doing this. We're going to talk about the success and about how it came about. It was somewhat of an organic thing that we learned as we grew, and we've now put together this idea of what a plan could look like and what are the 10 pillars of success. And how do we, now we want to share those with you so that you can also think about how you can do it. Now you might be a Master Gardener listening, you might be a community member, a parent, or someone else that's just interested. All good, because all of us can help and all of us need to help to have this be successful. So it's really about the different ways that anyone can plug in to support the schools on this. Of course, nothing happens without some fun, so I'm going to briefly talk on the idea of financially to support this. And as Lauren indicated, we have some really fun assets to share, some materials that have been developed. They're free, they're available through the links, and we really encourage any one of you who are getting involved or already are involved in schools but could gardens and could take advantage of some of these nice materials and use them with yours. And finally, we'll wrap up with our vision for going forward.
So we started with a really good foundation, obviously, or not so obvious. Master Gardeners has a reputation that precedes us. So before we start diving into the 10 pillars and the program itself, I can't move forward without being able to acknowledge the Master Gardener reputation across the country and in our state. I mean, we had people lining up because we add validity and expertise to the program. And so it's easier. We find that it's been easier to get volunteers and people involved because of that reputation. And we can't move forward, obviously, without acknowledging the existing school and community garden committee that was there before. We just graduated. So we're coming into a program that's been around in Placer County for about 40 years. And this particular community garden committee was ran by Kurt Duran, who's been instrumental in keeping it going for the 10 years. And so all of these things collectively came together to make us successful. We're newbies to Master Gardeners, so we're absolutely standing on your reputation that the people before us have set up for us to be successful. And then the scenario or the situation was definitely ripe for success. It's a two-way street. We had enthusiasm within the communities post-COVID, dormant school gardens, and so the need was there. So when we stepped in, go to the next slide, you can see here, this is our class, the interest for the Master Gardener program in and of itself, and the enthusiasm around gardens in schools, not only from the parents and teachers, but also in the Master Gardener program. This is our class. This is the first class post-COVID, and people had to apply. We had to apply to get a spot in this class of, I think it was 40 strong. And so just super enthusiastic, came out of the gates. We joined the school community garden committee with enthusiasm to support Kurt, and then we're able to take the program off and running. So ripe for success. Now, lots of schools have gardens. They've had for, and historically speaking, for a long time. Why are we different? Well, because we have a plan. We have a plan that we feel is able to be replicated through, outside of ourselves. And so we're just sharing what works. We've seen it work again and again at different schools. And so we come with a plan, and that really is our differentiator here for sure.
So let's talk about the plan, or the 10 pillars as we're calling it. The first, and I would say one of the most essential, is to gain the support of the principal. The principal is that person who can encourage the teachers, recruit the parents with you, support the program, and is therefore a critical partner. And boy, were we lucky. In spring of 2022, we were just graduating, and I joined the Master Gardeners because I wanted to do school gardens. So I was really excited when Kurt let us know that, hey, we've got a new request from a Lori Balsano Wright, who's the principal of Skyridge Elementary. Well, that's in Auburn, California. And she was asking for help. She had this garden. It's called Larry Ford Garden because it was named after a local hero, but it had really languished. It was in kind of bad shape. Even the sign, which got repainted, was not so great. So she was calling us to say, what can we do? How, what are some ideas? And so our class showed out in force, and we said, okay, here's some things to do, but let's roll up our sleeves and help you at least consult and recruit and get the help going. And so she's become this huge partner of ours. Is maybe our biggest fan, and we are of her as well, because she continued to make this whole idea really work. And I'm going to we have a couple videos. She actually was kind enough to give us a couple of testimonials that were video recordings, and we're going to play those so you can hear directly from her about how working together was such a beneficial thing. And I'm going to get my mouse over there.
Hello, my name is Lori Balsano Wright, and I am currently the coordinator of facilitated improvement and support for the Placer County Office of Education. In my previous role as the principal of Skyridge Elementary School in Auburn, California, I had the privilege of working closely with the Placer County Master Gardeners. My relationship with the Master Gardeners continues to be an amazing experience filled with support, guidance, positive energy, and enthusiasm. In May of 2022, I contacted the Master Gardeners to express an interest in receiving support. The response for the Master Gardeners was nothing short of amazing. Within just a few weeks, we held meetings attended by several willing and able Master Gardeners who were eager to support our garden program. We centered our work around the science standards and teaching students about planting, growing fresh vegetables, pollinators, soil, photosynthesis, and more. The Master Gardeners helped us to reach our goals that involved providing support for garden-related classes.
Now, Lori did mention former principal. So she got promoted at the end of the 22-23 school year to the Placer County of Education as a coordinator for facilitated improvement and support. And I'd like to think she got the promotion because of the great school garden program, but it's possible she did some other things too. So, all right, that's step one, engaging the principal. Let's move on to the next one. So teachers, frankly, don't have the time, and there isn't the funds to pay for a special staff member to run these gardens. And the teachers many of them love the idea of the garden, but this isn't their expertise, and they certainly have a lot on their plate. So we felt like it would be really important, in talking with Lori, that we recruit some parents to be in the garden teaching the kids, and we call them parent docents. We also felt like it was critical to line up with the PTA, PTO, whatever your different schools call it, but the whole parent-teacher organization, and get their support and take it forward from there. So that's what we did. You'll see in the pictures here, the lady at the far right of the right picture, Ashley Helm, is the PTO president at Skyridge. And on my right on that picture is Erica Costanza, who's one of the parents. And you're going to hear a little more about her in a minute. The first year, so the 2022 fall year, when Lori invited us to a back to school night. And so the Master Gardeners got up front, myself and Kurt and another one. And we said, hey, we're here to help. If parents will sign up, we're going to help you all along the way, figure out what to do. When we got back to our table, our booth, we had a line of parents ready to sign up. It was so fantastic and amazing. So from there, we were really able to launch with energy in the fall a nice school garden program. And I think it was really just asking, but it was also about that they felt supported, that they felt like they didn't have to know about gardening, they didn't have to know all that in order to make it work. And that's really the Master Gardener's strength. So we were able to get something going on that. Now, so I call that leveraging the Master Gardener brand. It's that reputation that Melissa was talking about. And it's part of the equation, but we're here to support. It's really about the parents too. We did create some flyers. That's part of the materials that we're going to share. So we could hand out flyers that say, here, you can help. Now, Lori also, I'm going to have her speak a little bit about this as well and her experience during this.
This type of support from the Master Gardeners really helped to remove barriers for us because of the reputation of the Master Gardeners within the local community. The request for parents to sign up as garden docents for the year went from only a few volunteers to a long line of parents ready to help because of the confidence that they had about the support that they would receive throughout the school year.
All right, so we've talked about parent docents, but I want to mention a very important parent role called a parent lead. So you need, I think, for a successful program, we believe that two parents make an ideal combination. One to really handle the communications with the teachers, with the parent docents, come up with the lessons plans, to talk to the principal, etc., and to do the scheduling and advertising. The other parent, I would focus on the garden, making sure that there are plants to plant, that the irrigation is working, that things are being weeded that aren't part of the class curriculum because you don't get all the weeding done in the classroom. So that combination, and then they support each other, and they have a buddy in the system in a sense, their own internal pair. And so this is what happened to Skyridge. We had Erica and another lady doing it, and it went really well. And we would encourage this to be a critical step in the building of any program, if possible. Now, sometimes you don't get to. You could do one if they can handle it, but it's helpful. Now, what if you don't have a school garden? Here's another story that Melissa will share.
So we've gone through a few of our pillars. You get the principal involved, parents and teachers support, you get two parent leads. And so in this particular case, at this school that I'm going to talk about and tell a quick story, is to enlist your community partners to help. So at Skyridge, the elementary school that we referred to a few times here in this presentation already, there was a parent that showed up to help, saw the enthusiasm, saw the impact of the garden, and what Master Gardeners could do. There's a program here in Auburn, California called Leadership Auburn, and they go through the program and they have a goal where they get together and they have a project that they work on. Well, the parent at Skyridge was involved in this program. And so when they said, hey, what's our project going to be? They're like a new school garden at the local middle school, E.V. Kane. And a parent said, I know who can help us, because she had seen the work at Skyridge. And so getting out there and being in the community just helps to develop relationships and collaboration that directly led into us working with Leadership Auburn. They reached out to us, and they work with the local Auburn Chamber. And so lots of organizations, the school district. And here you're going to hear from DJ Moylan, who's a local business owner here in Auburn, and also Jamie Ross, who happens to be a school board member. They're both involved in this program. They want to put in a garden. They're working with us, and we all work together to make it happen. It's a super cool story, and they're going to talk and tell you about that here.
And anyway, we were part of Leadership Auburn 2023, and we had a project to do here, but I think Jamie and who else was it that originally called Master Gardeners to help with some type of a project at the school here. And this is kind of what's in front of us, but we started off on a variety of different ideas, and this is sort of where we landed. But
so through Leadership Auburn, we saw the amazing work that was done at Skyridge and at Auburn Elementary, and we knew we had to have the Placer County Master Gardeners when we started our garden project at E.V. Kane. There's no one else that has enough kindness and compassion, not just for the plants themselves, but also for our community. And because of their community involvement, they were so gracious to volunteer their time. And we were so honored that they would help us put these gardens together. So now middle school gets to enjoy the fun that our elementary schools got to enjoy.
Master gardeners helped us sort of come up with the ideas of what to do here, how to implement this, and then all we really had to do is kind of put the muscle to the street here and get these tubs that sat at my house for 2 months, and then we get the chips and then the soil. And so it was this process for us as leaders to try to come up with a bunch of different ways to get this stuff here for the kids to have this. And it was all sort of developed in this idea of looking at some of the other schools and wanting to do the same thing here at Edie Kane.
So as you can see, they're super awesome. Those two people, it kind of gets me choked up hearing them talk about us for sure. So sorry if you hear a little crack in my voice. So in addition to community members, it takes a village, and school gardens are no different. And so being out there and listening community members, because master gardeners, there's only so many of us. And so we can't do it all. We understand that it's not realistic if we're the ones that are carrying all the weight. So hence why we have these pillars that really are prerequisites to being able to move down the line. So before I move on, you have community members or community partners that come in, but you have to acknowledge your maintenance personnel. So they are also community members and partners. It's not just the teachers, but the maintenance folks. They carry the keys. They have the access to the infrastructure that helps to make our gardens successful. Water, super important, right? And being able to share that, they're on site all the time. They care about it. And so enlisting those personnel, another key point that we have to make in this particular slide. So it really does take a village. CalFresh, you see the logo there. Carol will talk a little bit more about that later, but it definitely is a community partnership. So there we go. So you enlist those, and here you can see organized work parties. Now, this is a side note. We all know master gardeners, we're not your labor garden workforce, right? They teach us in our classrooms that that's just not what we're there for. But it does help to organize these work parties and also take some of the fear of what to do at these work parties out of the equation, so that people don't show up going, God, do I pull that weed? Is it a weed? I don't know. What do we do to mulch these? What do we use to mulch? What, I mean, where do we even start? And so you remove that fear. Teachers don't have to deal with it. Parents don't have to deal with it on their own. They have the expertise and the guidance that we bring to the table. Remove that fear. It builds community. Many hands make light work. We all know that. And nothing's more true in a garden setting, to sit back as a collective group and see the work that you've done. It's so rewarding. And you get to know the people in your community. You're not just dropping your kids off and hightailing it out of there. You're on site. You're seeing what's happening. And it's just good for the school and the community all around. I can't stress enough how beneficial these are. And if those of you in the audience who are not master gardeners, if you are looking for a way to get involved, these work parties really are instrumental and being able to just kind of get on site, get your hands a little dirty, and meet some of your fellow community members. So reach out locally or to us if you're listening to this and that sounds of interest to you. Number 6, our other pillar, another thing that differentiates us. We're not just out there throwing seeds in the ground, although that's very important. We are helping to support the teachers on campus to support the curriculum that they are teaching in the classroom. We don't want to come in and cause a disruption. We want to complement the teachers' days. Again, why it's so important to adapt to them. And so we come with an organized garden plant activity that comes in to make it organized and beneficial. So you're disseminating that super important science-based research that we learn and disseminating it to parents and kids in the classroom. And here you can see Michelle McCard-Lacani. Pardon me if I slaughtered your lane. But Michelle's amazing. And you can see her pictured here doing one of our seed classes. You simply soak a lima bean and you pull it apart, and you can see the cotyledon leaves inside the seed. And I've seen adults be like, wow, really? So you can adapt it to the audience, little kids, the teenagers that we do at the middle school. And so bringing that to the table and sharing some of the stuff that Carol will talk about later really does help, again, remove those barriers as master gardeners to make the program successful, and not just going in there without a plan, utilizing your the master garden parent, or pardon me, the parent lead, and helping parents feel comfortable so you're not showing up having to be a master gardener yourself, but able to learn. So super important.
Okay, so, we've talked a lot about recruiting the right help. We've mentioned now the idea of building a garden class program, as well as ensuring the gardens are built. And when that really got going for us in several schools, we thought, well, let's share ideas across the schools. So we set up a Placer County parent-teacher sharing network. And we actually hosted a meeting of interested parents and teachers and master gardeners. And you'll see a picture illustrating that here. And we also said, how do we make this ongoing? And technology can be our friend for this. So one of the schools said, hey, we use something called a Discord server. And a Discord server just allows you to chat with each other, to post ideas. I can put up there and say, hey, we're going to offer a training on next Thursday if you want to come. So it's a way of communicating that isn't just email based. And there's one-on-one chats. So that was a nice thing. And we're piloting that to see if that helps foster these communications. Of course, we also need to share information. We're going to be talking about this Garden Employee of the Month. And that's a great example that came out of this very activity from the parent. Jenny is actually right there in the picture in the front with the green shirt, and she created these wonderful posters. Well, she freely gave for us to share, and we're sharing those on a Google Drive, and we're going to be providing through Lauren the link for that. So how to share different ideas, materials, things that people come up with, that was our pillar number 7, expanding past just the school. So, we had a good fall and spring, and we were coming to the end of the spring, and we thought, well, we should measure how we're doing. We should get a sense of what's working, what we might improve, and how much impact we're having. So we did that in 3 ways. We said, okay, let's get some testimonials. You'll hear another, and you've heard a few from Lori that were video, but we also asked school board members, parents, and various participants, community leaders to write some testimonials for us, essentially to give us some positive feedback for our contest submission. And it was great. It was also very touching, and yes, we were very honored. It was really about being able to hear their voice about the impact that was being made, and to surmise what worked well, and gave us a lot of ideas for this presentation. We also did a survey. We did a survey of the kids, and we came up with a dozen questions, and we went to each of the classes, and we said, okay, raise your hand if you've now planted a garden at your home, or maybe you've tried a new vegetable, or maybe you've actually know what a worm does in the garden. And so the kids were really great about just, raising their hands when it made sense to them. And we got some survey information. We also saw their enthusiasm. It was wonderful. And then we said, okay, and the third way to measure is statistics. What kind of impact are we having by the numbers? In the Master Gardener world, we capture content, and we have our volunteers record hours. So just in the first 9 months of 2023, which is just a part of this whole program, the statistics are that we had over 1,000 volunteer hours logged. We had over 3,300 contacts logged, which means that we've engaged with the public. And we estimate that we are bringing this to about 1,500 children every month, some garden experience. And we're hoping to double that in the next 12 months. This is our goal, is to grow these numbers and to continue to expand the program. So I'm going to have Lori one more time give us a little bit of a testimony of the impact that this program has had.
Finally, I really want to brag about the results of their efforts. The first positive outcome was the number of class visits to the garden and outdoor classroom increased significantly. With more visits to the garden, we found that our students became more engaged in learning through hands-on activities. And as an added bonus to the high levels of engagement, our school garden was providing an atmosphere that strengthened academic, personal, and social skills.
She's awesome.
All right, over to 9.
We're on to 9. So if you're still with us, thank you so much. We're getting close here. So adapting is super important in any program, in life in general. It's certainly not any different in the garden, as we all know. So here with our program, adapting by language, timing, grade level, socioeconomic. Language, you can see here simply having translated flyers can be simple to communicate and help create a sense of inclusivity. Timing, at the grade school level, it's easier to be able to have it during the day because the teachers can show up. But in junior high, they're in 7 classes and they're moving. No teacher is going to go out to the garden with those kids. No way. But an after school program that we've started with that garden that you have seen earlier in this presentation, we now meet. It's an Earth Club. We meet every Thursday after school. And it's super awesome. We deal with the garden, but it's grown, but we're adapting to what that school needs. And socioeconomic, just be aware of where you are when you're on site at that campus. Maybe that campus needs a little bit more resources or has a ton. There's lots of programs out there and grants. So knowing your school site status can help to know how you can help and implement change there. So just being aware and adapting of the school, it definitely creates success in the program. Complement the school's needs. Teachers have a lot on their plate. We want to be something that adds to the school day and not detracts from the school day. And that's one of the reasons why having a cleaned up, amazing garden ready to roll that the teachers can just walk in. It doesn't even have to be when we're on site. Maybe the teachers need a mental health break. We all need it. And so you take the kids out into a garden that's already set with a classroom area. You make it user friendly. You're not wondering what you're walking into, and the teachers have that confidence. It's been really great to see. And lastly, our final pillar here, ongoing master gardener engagement to ensure that continuity. So we all been part of those programs where you have people that take the program with them. They'll win the lottery and move to Florida, and there goes the program, right? And so really being able to ensure that continuity. For instance, at the grade level, we have a parent teacher, maybe their kid's in 5th grade and getting ready to go to the next school. So I'm going to wrap that parent in to go to the junior high with me. Or Carol's going to look at the kindergarten new parent that's enthusiastic. That kid's going to be in the school for a while. Let's get that kid in. It's just common sense, and it helps to be aware. And so we offer that bridge as people move on. On a side note, what we've also found works is to assign a particular master gardener as that garden's buddy at the school, so that you have one master gardener that can help to be the conduit. Are they doing all the work for it? Not at all. But it's that one person that can be that point of contact that helps to maybe have some accountability and some continuity within the program as well. I'm the buddy at the junior high we talked about. There's another gardener, Noel, who does Sky Ridge. And so it helps to disperse the weight. And as you know, we can all get overwhelmed. So to be conscientious of that is super helpful. And so we've gone over the 10 pillars. I'm going to hand it over to Carol, and she's going to talk a little bit about some funding for those and how we make it work.
Yeah, what we experienced was actually kind of remarkable, because we didn't have a situation where we couldn't find the funds to do what was the plan, well, whatever the right thing for that school was. We've talked about how the Leadership Auburn group did the E.B. Kane Garden. They did the fundraising for that as part of their mission. Now, we're not naive, the money doesn't grow on trees, of course. So there are some sources that people can look for to find the funding. It's often good to start with the school itself, the PTO budget, and the school might have some resources as well for the maintenance of the garden. But you can reach out beyond that. Local garden clubs, we got a couple of grants for the Auburn schools through the Auburn Garden Club, and it's a wonderful thing that they do for that. Grant writing and grant submission is a source that is There's plenty of grants out there. There can be very competitive, but you can certainly go for that. CalFresh, we mentioned that a little earlier. So CalFresh is a sister program in the UC, University of California system, but it's with federal funding. It helps bring nutrition and gardening information to what are called Title I schools, which are schools where they have a greater proportion of what they call underserved population. So in the CalFresh program, they have funding for building garden beds and buying seeds and all that stuff. And so that's often a great source. Local merchants can be just such a blessing and can really help out in so many ways to bring it. It could be in-kind donations as well as financial. Speaking of sort of non-money, getchipdrop.com is actually a site where if you need wood chips, you can get them for free, because there's all those tree cutters and arborists out there who don't know what to do with their wood chips, right? That they have to otherwise take them to the ecology. So it's a way of having them just dump a big pile of wood chips, and you can get that work party going to spread them out. Parents are often a wonderful source. We at Skyridge put out a call for some seeds that we needed to do the spring garden, and we have like 3 years worth of seeds as a result, which of course, hopefully they last the 3 years. And community has often stepped as well. So we would encourage you to have an abundance mentality, to go and ask, and to feel like the money will likely be able to be found with the right plan in place and with the right enthusiasm. So I mentioned that we have some materials, and I'm going to actually bring up in a second a few of the ones that we have just to show you. But so these are all available via links that Lauren is going to be putting in the chat. The Garden of the Month poster is this really great idea of encouraging kids to not be frightened of bugs, butterflies, bees, things that help the garden. And so that was done by Jenny, as I mentioned earlier, and there's 14 of them, and they're available. You see some of the pictures there, and in a moment I'll bring up one so you can see a little more clearly. We also have the University of California system, the TWIGS curriculum. TWIGS stands for Teaching with Intergenerational Support, I think. It's essentially a curriculum designed to bring garden activities, ideas, and lessons. That's free and available for download. Our flyers, we're happy to share these flyers. Obviously, you would tailor them for your situation, but we think they look pretty nice. So if you're interested in some pretty jazzy flyers, we've done back-to-school presentations. We've done presentations to service organizations like Rotary. All of those are available anytime you want. Now, let me just, for a moment, get out of the presentation and show you a couple of these things I've talked about. So we have these Garden of the Month employees, and this is a Google folder. And there are 14 files in here. You take these, we printed them on some nice sized posters and laminated them. We roll them up and put them in a canister, and we can carry them around to all the schools. Schools can check them out. Let me just show you Ladybug. The Ladybug's always a popular one. So in this, you'll see it talks about the physical characteristics, some fun facts about them and features, how they help with pest control. One of their jobs is to keep those nasty aphids out of the garden. And instead of spraying chemicals, let's just invite some ladybugs in. And you can really get into the science as well, especially with the older kids, about the life cycle and what a baby ladybug looks like. And then there are some references. Jenny is a research scientist in the UC Davis system, so these are science-based. So we encourage you to take advantage of these wonderful posters in your school garden programs. Another example, this TWIGS curriculum I mentioned, I'm just showing you the activity lessons that are here. You'll see they range from soil and planting and tools and worms. This seed one, Seed Magic, is that one that we've talked about with the dissection of a lima bean. So as you go further into it, it has all the what you need and the instructions and what you tell the kids. These are really helpful resources that we think could make a really great basis for a school program. And then the flyers. So this is just a look at a parent flyer. We have a parent flyer. We have a parent flyer in Spanish. We also have a teacher flyer, because we actually went to a teacher education workshop that was being held by the Placer County Education Group, and handed out these to encourage them to essentially work with us to bring these school garden programs. And then we have a general public one as well. So they're similar. They talk about why school garden and how to help and how to get some more information. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. we've covered a lot. We've covered our 10 pillars. We've covered some supporting critical assets and things that will help. And now let's just talk about where we're going, and then we'll wrap it up. Well, we've talked about expanding the program. So I'm hoping to double in size the schools that we are actively involved in school garden programs. We do also consultations, and some of the smaller schools will just go out and give them some advice. So there's that as well. Melissa's already talked about the E.B. Kane after school program. That's been launching since we did this presentation the first time. It's really off and rolling, so that's wonderful. Training is, I think, a really valuable thing that we can do. And so we not only do we do the Twigs, we did a class on the Twigs curriculum, but we've also done a class on teaching pollinators in the garden. A couple of our fellow master gardeners from the pollinator committee came to our the teacher, the parent, master gardener sharing network group and did a training on that. We want to expand into the county on some other collaborative ideas. One of the interesting ideas is the Placer Resource Conservation District. So a conservation district as a nonprofit is really looking at doing work around the community gardens, and that's actually part of our charter as well. And we haven't talked about that because that's a new area for us to explore. So we're really looking forward to maybe helping not just the kids, but the parents have access to gardens and what happens, the magic that happens in gardens. And grant writing, I'm actually helping some folks learn how to write grants in our community so that we can perhaps get some special resources for that. And we're super excited. We've got a class of 2024. We will no longer be the new class.
That's right.
We have 2024 coming. And we are going to be busy recruiting those wonderful new volunteers when they graduate in June of next year to come help this program. So that takes us through some of our exciting plans. I know it's been a fairly quick whirlwind. Let me just summarize. We've listed the 10 pillars here. I won't repeat them. You've heard the story. But it's really about that engagement with the parents, with the teachers, with the community. It's about providing the education and support materials. And of course, as you guys can probably tell, being enthusiastic and really just that fun, this is going to be great, we can get this done kind of attitude that makes such a difference. So we are really delighted that you've listened to this presentation. We're really appreciative of all of the help that we've received and continue to receive from the Placer County community and our own Master Gardener organization, as well as the overall Master Gardener organization that's hosting this webinar. We welcome your questions, and to do that, we're going to move to Lauren, who maybe has some questions in chat or can open it up. So Lauren, over to you.
Thank you so much. We already have people in the comments. We have Joan asking where she can find all this stuff, and I've just popped it up on the screen. We have a box folder that contains all of the goodies that they talked about. We try to put them all in one place. We also shared their very special Google Drive, right? That's what you guys are using, is Google Drive. And let me pop those on the screen for you. The Fun Employee of the Month, we have that. We also have that Twigs curriculum. And you can find these in the comments. And I'll pop up that one more time. The box folder that has all the resources we just talked about and also has the presentation. We do want to thank a few people that came over from Facebook to YouTube because we weren't streaming very live very well at the very beginning. So the presentation is recorded. All the resources are available. And thank you for those that have stayed with us. I do want to say, and please just drop your questions in the chat. We'll be going through them. But thank you so much for your presentation. Something that really resonated with me. So I'm not only an employee, but I was a Master Gardener volunteer first. And one of my barriers to becoming a volunteer was fear. And you guys mentioned that word several times. And I, as a volunteer now, I see a lot of that with public is fear of gardening, fear of doing something wrong, fear of just not knowing. And gardening is very forgiving. And Master Gardeners, once you get, it's just so funny. I always talk about this. But once you get gardeners or people who want to garden in a group together, it creates this weird bond and everyone's just excited. And if someone holds something up and is like, what is this? Everyone wants to know what it is. We all try and figure out what it is. Like, it just creates a sense of community, which you talk about in pillars like 1 and 2. Like, that's it. Like, it starts building the community and starts moving forward. And you talked about, I wrote this down, that work party. I have a great work party story. We were having a work party for a school garden to resurrect it because we had people interested. So the Master Gardeners came out and we're going to help people, reconnect irrigation, get it all going. And a lot of people just didn't show up. It was soccer season, some other things. But what happened is that Saturday school was there. So kids who were being punished were there, and they were picking up trash and like walking around the track. And it was really great because the person in charge of Saturday school came over and was like, hey, can we help? And I am telling you, those kids were like, can we come back next Saturday?
Right on.
It was like, well, you don't have to get in trouble to come back. But yes, the garden's coming back. So it was really nice to see just the engagement from kids who were supposed to be in trouble. And they were super excited and wanted to spend their Saturday coming back and helping.
That's awesome.
And it was just a cleanup day. So yeah, even the basics of cleanup day, even if you're starting or restarting something where the parents have edged out or their kids aged out, so the parents aren't there. Like gardens go through this life cycle of a school because of that support and because of the support of UC Master Gardeners. And one of your pillars of like picking those leads, building that relationship, creating that ownership for people. It is really an important thing to keep that going. And even if there is a garden that goes, what do they call that? Goes barren, it can be resurrected through these 10 pillars that you guys have mentioned. So thank you so much. We do have some kudos for you already. We have Michelle, excellent presentation and resources. Thank you.
That's great.
We have Joan. I think Joan is an LA Master Gardener. So Joan, thanks for joining us.
Joan. We
have Diane. Thank you. A nice job. Let me see. What else do I have?
Lauren, real quick while you're going through that, one of the side notes on the Saturday and the soccer, we have found that Sunday after church hours is very successful if it's not too hot or going through it. So giving a range, right? Doing it from 8 to 1, but people can come in anytime. So we have found that when we're competing against soccer, that Sunday is successful. So that's a funny note.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And like even Bible studies on Wednesdays, you have to work around that schedule a little bit too. So it depends on your community and your group that you're dealing with.
For sure.
We do have a great comment from Joan. As an LA County MG, I primarily work with younger students, nursery K, at schools with garden areas rather than full-on school gardens. So glad you mentioned supporting curriculum, because that continues to be tricky at schools that seem to only want gardening as an enrichment activity.
Yeah, I think it's really important. We keep hitting home that we are science-based. We are UC-backed. We are trained to disseminate that. And I think that might help really add some validity, Joan, to not just being an enrichment, that we're able to come in because of the science-based with the help of hopefully maybe a parent lead of saying, what are you teaching in your classrooms at this time? And then taking a step back and working with us and saying, okay, how can we meet them, right? We're going to meet them. And so we're not expecting them to come to us. We're going to them with things that support. Teachers, as you noted, just have so many things on their plate. We have to be the encourager, not an obstacle.
Yeah, so I do think that support is actually key. I have a couple friends who are teachers. They are stretched thin. And if they are going to pick up a project, they do want that support and that fear. Again, being in charge of all of that, keeping something alive outside of the classroom hours, being responsible, fundraising. I mean, you mentioned some things that are pretty basic, which was having water. Yeah. Like having access to water, having a safe environment, having, is it on campus? Can you get there safely? There's lots of things that go into school gardens, but I think your 10 pillars really hit on a lot of the support that as a Master Gardener program we can give, and also from the opposite side of where the community and parents can start and want to bring this into their school or into their area.
Right. I think we find a lot of people really want to help. They're just not sure how. And then that fear, right, of not knowing or messing something up. So if we can remove all those obstacles as master gardeners, that's really our role of just removing any of that doubt, and adding some reinforcement has been instrumental.
As far as some just a side note, has any parent decided to become a UC Master Gardener volunteer yet?
We constantly, we hear them talking, but a lot of them, as we did. I know for me, I didn't become a master gardener until my kids were out of the house. It's harder when you have littles to give up that volunteer time too.
I have had a couple of them come up and say, when I retire,
yes, when my kids I
want to be like you.
Yeah.
So there's certainly a vision of doing that in the future. But as Melissa says, there's a lot of reality on their plate, and it does take a good commitment, especially to make an impact like we're doing.
Right.
So but they certainly, I think it continues to be on their mind for the future.
And we're branding ourselves even more. It's every time we're out in the community as master gardeners, all of us wearing our name badges and doing all the things. It's that constant branding of bringing awareness that we exist and that we're here to support the community.
All right. Is there anything you'd like to share or promote or say about Placer County, or invite people to, or anything?
Well, the first thing I think, I don't know if you can re-show the presentation.
Oh, yeah, I can.
The last slide. We just want to make the offer, and we're here. So this is our contact information. So it's in the presentation that will be stored in the place that you've shared. So call us, write us, email us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to share ideas. We'd love to learn from you. There are people out there doing wonderful things. We know all across the state. So that's our first, and I think most important, is that we would love to connect. I think what's going on in Placer County around the school gardens is probably similar to what goes on in other counties, in that some are really embraced. The principals make a difference. Some of them are wanting to, but don't even have irrigation speaking of water to the bed, so they're on hold till we get there. Placer County is a wonderful place to visit. We can always promote that, but I think that goes beyond the scope of our discussion. So
right.
We just have really enjoyed the chance to share this, and thank you to everyone who attended.
I just want to say that don't be afraid to get out there. Sometimes it's just taking that first step. So if there's any amount of encouragement, if you're an audience member who's listening to this, who's not a master gardener, reach out to us, reach out to your local master gardener, find out, do you have a program near you? How could you get involved? So even if it's not through one of ours, every school should have a garden. So
that's right. Every kid needs to have their hands in the dirt.
Yes. Thank you so much again for everything. We are going to close out this live. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone who showed up live and who is watching after the fact. If you are a UC Master Gardener and you have attended this, please record 1 hour of continuing education credit. We would love to encourage you to do that, and encourage your other fellow Master Gardeners to watch this, share it. We would love for it to reach more people, and just encourage some of these great projects that are already going on and built on experience. And you mentioned, which I appreciate this too, this wasn't just something like you guys started, like it's been boiling. You have worked with the previous people. There's other institutional knowledge and time that it's taken to get that far. So even if you're starting a project from scratch, it's going to take a little bit of time, but look where you can get. This is just exciting to get there. We really do enjoy giving out our Search for Excellence Awards, because we love to see the projects and work in community involvement that is going on, because that is really what the UC Master Gardener program is about in our mission. So if you have any kind of gardening questions, we would love for you to get in contact with your local UC Master Gardener program. We're in, oh my gosh, is it 52 or 51 counties? I'm currently a Master Gardener in Sutter-Yuba County, and you guys are our neighbors, so thank you, Placer County, for being a good neighbor. We do want to also give a shout out to the future live series SFE winners. We have 2 more coming up, so you didn't miss anything. And we would love for you to go ahead and click on this link, and we have one more in December and then one more in January. And just another shout out. Thank you, Carol and Melissa. We really appreciate your time, effort, and expertise in this. And you have mastered the art of being live. I really appreciate your attention to detail and willingness to practice and just be good sports about being live on camera. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And thank you everyone again for being on board and just being part of the Master Gardener community. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.